family vacationing. I hate it. I hate going. My wife hates going with me. The kids hate going. And my wife, she gets upset when I have a bad time. I don't. No, I knew it was going to suck. And then I'm going to complain about it, which is something I do enjoy.
All right, that's Jerry Seinfeld talking about family vacations, and he really doesn't like family vacations. Have you guys seen the movie? I guess it's on Netflix, or is it Prime? One of those two, Unfrosted. Have you guys seen that?
I haven't seen it yet at all. I know that it got some mixed reviews, but have you seen it yet, Michael?
You know what? Yes, there are a lot of cameos. I was about halfway after Bill Burr plays JFK, and after that, I just kind of tuned out. It's a funny movie, but I just thought it just went on too long.
So to me, Jerry Seinfeld's comment, I mean, I know he's kind of joking around about it because it gives him material, but the reality is the very nature of our business is kind of having these conversations ahead of time, right? Mm-hmm. Where everybody's talked about how much money they think they need, and they think that's really where the starting point is for retirement. But for us, the starting point really for retirement is that, hey guys, every day's Saturday. I mean, you have every day off now. So first and foremost, especially for a husband and wife, all of a sudden, where before you saw each other for a few hours in the evening and a few hours on the weekend, now you see each other 24 hours a day. What is that going to look like for you, right? Maybe Mrs. Seinfeld actually wants the vacation and wish Jerry would just stay behind because she's stuck with him 24/7. But it also, I mean, he points out the fact that I think that if he took the time to sit down and figured out what it is he really wanted to do on vacation, maybe they wouldn't suck. And I think the same thing could be said about retirement. Retirement can really not turn out well at all if you haven't had a conversation about what retirement's going to look like for you. One of my favorite clients have been with us for forever now at this point. And I say forever, probably 25, 30 years. When they first came to us, she was a FedEx employee, had a great 401k, a reasonable little pension. And he does woodworking. I mean, he's just really outdoorsy type guy. And when we're sitting down talking the first time, as we're talking about what retirement's going to look like right now that every day is Saturday and you're both home in front of each other every day. And as I bring that up, you could just see the look on their faces like, oh my God, 24 hours a day, really?
So they didn't think about this until
because nobody really thinks about that, right? Because you're just thinking about, do I have enough money and I'm going to be able to work and I'm going to be able to do all these things. And that's exactly what John said. That here's all the things I'm going to do, which mostly involve the Winnebago and golfing and camping and hiking and touring the country. And his wife is sitting there looking at me and looking at him, and she's just shaking her head. And finally I said, so what does retirement look like to you? And she's like, we're going to go live next to the daughter-in-law I like best and hang out with the grandkids. And that's really, they had they had two sons, and they wanted to go she wanted to go live next to the daughter-in-law and with the two or three grandkids. And so he's thinking to himself, Jerry Seinfeld, I hate it. I'm going to hate it. But at the end of the day, they hadn't even had that conversation. And so by having that conversation ahead of time, we could figure out a way how to plan things. And part of their retirement now is he does do the tours. Well, he doesn't do them anymore because he's past that age now. He's in his I guess he's got to be almost 90 at this point. But he now, for 20 years, he would camp by himself and go with buddies and do some camping. He would take his wife with him sometimes, but they spent a lot of time with the daughter-in-law.
If you are watching us on YouTube or listening to the podcast and you have a computer next to you, you can go to thesavvyinvestorradio.com. Again, that's thesavvyinvestorradio.com. So what's that going to get you? Well, that's going to get you a quick 15-minute phone conversation with the team at ProStatus. Just click on the 401k X-ray button, and that'll get you in contact with them and get the conversation started. So that way you can make plans. That way you don't have to think vacationing sucks like Jerry Seinfeld. But sometimes when you guys get talking with couples, does it get confrontational? Because I want to do this. No, I want to do this. Well, I want to move over here. Well, we talked about moving over here, or we didn't talk about it, but I don't want to do that.
I mean, it absolutely can be confrontational between the two of them. The clients I talked about in the previous section, Mike and Catherine, when they came in and sat down, they had conversations with Dawn about what it was that they're looking for, and they had spoken to Lawrence about what their retirement goals were and their assets and what they wanted to do. And they came in and they sat down, and Catherine was very, bubbly and really wanted to have conversations. And then he sat there pretty much just with his arms crossed and just kind of leaned back the entire time and didn't really say, much about it. And we were talking, kind of going through the process, and gradually he started to lean forward in his chair. He started to be a little more engaging. He started to kind of he finally uncrossed his arms. And I made a joke, and then he laughed, and I was like, all right, I finally got this guy kind of going on. And we were going back and forth. I said, well, what brings you in? And she started talking about it. And then his comment was, I'm just here to make her happy. And that was it. And but by the end of it, he was really invested in the process, because he had realized that, I needed to have these types of conversations because we truly don't have a plan. We have just saved and saved and saved all these years, but we haven't given any thought to what happens if I can't work anymore? What happens if I get fired tomorrow? What happens if I die tomorrow? What is the plan for all this money? All we've done is save. We don't have a plan to distribute it, and we don't have a plan for taxes.
And I think where the benefit of that is because, like Ryan said, it can be a difficult conversation, right? And so by being able to be that middleman, that person that is not emotionally attached to the outcome.
The therapist almost.
Yeah.
Right. Almost like a therapist. That's really it is. I mean, we joke about half of our job. We tell people all the time, our job is to hold your hand and force you to cross the street, but it's also to hold your hand to prevent you from running across the street. Right. But it's really that therapy type sessions that all of us need to have, so that you can have a well thought out conversation that doesn't get caught up in the emotions of, well, I'm not doing that. Yes, we're doing that. No, we're not moving to Florida. Yes, we're moving to New York, or whatever it happens to be. It takes a little bit of that edge off, and it allows them to have that freedom to have that conversation that's so important. And when they go home, they continue to have that conversation even then, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always back and forth. I see it, unfortunately, I see it with my in-laws all the time. I happen to be the voice of reason for them. When my father-in-law wants to do X, my mother-in-law wants to do Y. And then, of course they talk to my wife and my sister-in-law, but then they come to me because, I have experience. Well, Ryan, you talk to your clients, what do they do? And I'm just like, I don't know why you're asking me these questions. I don't
you in the middle of that.
I'm vested in this relationship. You can't ask me my opinion, but it's that what I've seen is kind of like what Mike said. When they finally both retired, they had built a house 2 doors down from us. So I am the favorite son-in-law. But they built a house 2 doors down from us. And as soon as they built that house, my father-in-law was like, you know what? I want to buy a house in Florida. and move down to Florida. And so they did the back and forth, the Florida thing for a while. And then eventually he stayed down in Florida, and my mother-in-law kept coming back. But it was to the point where her idea of retirement was, I want to be with the grandkids. I don't want to be down here in Florida taking pictures of alligators and birds. I want to be with my grandkids. So she forced him to sell their place down in Florida, and they've since moved back to Maryland, and they're next door. But now he's, I think my father-in-law is probably 77, 78 years old. He's already now talking about he wants to buy another piece of property somewhere else and move there. And she's like, no, this is what I wanted to do in retirement. So it's very important that you have those conversations. Have those conversations before coming in and sitting down with Mike and myself and our team. We'll be that voice of reason, that emotionally unattached opinion that you're going to have, but you want to have these conversations so you and your partner know, here's what you can expect out of retirement.